Clotting factors can't cure hemophilia because 25% of hemophiliacs, they develop an antibody. And my mentor, she's actually working on a project where they're testing different races of different people, so like Asians, African Americans, Caucasians, Latinos, some of them develop different type of antibodies quicker or slower than other races. So they're seeing if, they're trying to figure out, right now they're just trying to map out and see, they're trying to learn more about the disease right now and how the body can develop antibodies, and how some people can develop them so quickly. So right now there's a bunch of studies that I was just talking about, like my mentor, but there's a lot of work at the Puget Sound Blood Center in Seattle that they do a lot of work on the research and different research that's going on, and they get blood and DNA samples from all over the country. Like when we were there, they were getting samples from Virginia Commonwealth down in Virginia. They're getting samples from South Africa because South Africa has such a high HIV/AIDS prevalency that they were testing on hemophiliacs who suffer from HIV/AIDS as well, and on different stuff like that. There's actually a cool cartoon YouTube video. I didn't show it, but it's 30 seconds. There's this Indian hemophilia kind of group, and they're working on, the government gives out clotting factors to people who suffer from hemophilia in the country. And it's cool, there's this Indian guy, and he's like building a thing on the beach, and he must be a football player. So the cool thing is that a lot of, like, you heard that guy, he was very optimistic, and I think the key about the disease is that you need to stay optimistic, because like he said, it's a part of you. Take up gardening. If that's all you get out of it, great. Any questions? Other than thank you, because that's not a question. Any questions on hemophilia? Does it make sense? Should you name it, raise your- Yes.
So, Elisa.
Lisa, cool.
A carrier, how is a carrier different from a person affected?
A carrier, they don't suffer from the disease, so they do have factor 8 and factor 9, and they can still clot just like anybody else. But when they have kids, it's possible that their kids can have hemophilia. Does that make sense? Sweet. Yes. Correct.
It's like, if it's clot TB, they can bleed, but it's like inside their body.
Right.
Like,
Right.
But like when they do get a normal cat, does it like bleed a lot too, or just normal?
It bleeds normally. Yeah, it doesn't. So are you saying like, does an outside, like a cut on your finger, does it bleed a lot more than a normal? It bleeds about the same, but it's just, it bleeds longer. So, I mean, if you put a Band-Aid on it and some Neosporin or something, it'll still bleed. Like, I mean, if you get a cut and you just take care of it really quickly, it should be fine, right? But they just bleed longer for longer periods of time. But like in the video, it said the joint bleeds are way more serious just because they're not really detectable. If you get a cut on your arm, you think, oh, wow, there's a cut on my arm. But in your kneecap or something like that, it's a lot worse and it can do a lot more damage. So. Yes, Alexis?
Does that mean that they have to get like blood injected into them every once in a while?
Sometimes there was actually a huge thing on hemophiliacs for a while because they didn't have the clotting factors yet. They just got blood transfusions a lot. And in the 70s, I believe, the early 70s, there was a lot of HIV/AIDS a lot of people who had HIV/AIDS donated their blood. So a lot of hemophiliacs ended up suffering from HIV/AIDS and died a lot quicker. But it's treatment that is available, but it's not. I think they mainly just go for the clotting factors. What's your name?
Tatum.
Tatum. Cool.
If the lifespan of someone with hemophilia was like 11 years without any treatment, how was that one man able to go on like so long without no?
That was 11 years in the 60s. That's a good question. I feel like maybe I think he might have had bleeds and there might have been clotting factors involved, but I feel like that one was just really serious. That's a good question. Maybe he just didn't do physical activities. Because I know as a child, the first 1 or 2 years is usually when they discover that a child has hemophilia because when they fall down, they have huge bruises. Like there's pictures on the web where, and like babies have to wear helmets so they don't fall down and bruise something in their brain. But yeah, it's a good question why that guy is still alive. Because he looked definitely older than 11. But rocking the mullet and the mustache. Cool. But any other questions? Good questions.
Thank you, Cassidy.
Thank you.
Okay, so just to make a quick connection for you, when we did HIV/AIDS, you remember I was saying that there was a little boy that had HIV/AIDS and he got it from a blood transfusion.
Yep, that's okay.
Okay, so his name was Ryan White, and that is the young man that I was talking about, and that's what Cassidy was just talking about as well. I think that was in the 80s, 83 or something like that, I remember from my reading. And so it can be a kind of a dangerous thing because, you know, if they have a cut on the outside, it might not stop bleeding for a long time. For us, you know, you put a Band-Aid on it, like Cassidy said, and eventually it stops, right? Because those platelets come together and they mesh together and then it makes like a scar, right? And that doesn't happen for them. So a nosebleed could bleed and bleed and bleed and bleed and bleed and bleed until they're bled out, or a cut, or a surgery. And then, of course, I didn't know this part about the inside bleeding. I knew more
Yeah.
about the outside because I've had hemophiliacs in my class before, so I know I have to be kind of careful with
Right.
certain things. But I didn't know about the inside, so I learned
Yeah,
something.
I didn't know a lot about it. Like at first, I thought they just bled a ton. Like there was just a lot more profuse bleeding. But when I actually researched it, it was like, oh, they just bleed longer. It's not
Longer.
like gushing.
Yes, yeah.
That was the spray. Didn't really count that. So
Yeah. So do you work with your mentor at all? With
yeah,
hemophiliacs?
not directly, just because it's the whole privacy thing of different patients. But I went to my mom and we went to her to Puget Sound Blood Center. She gave us a tour of what she was. They have some really crazy machines to identify, and especially to test the clotting factor. Like they have this like $50,000 machine that's like this big, and they test. They run it through this. It's really hard to explain, but there's this certain coloration that they look for in the clotting factors that helps determine it. But I can't work directly with her. She had this cool program that she had like thousands of people's DNA and blood type, and this program from all over the world, which was impressive.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Well, we are about at lunchtime, so
He
if you
has
want to talk to
question.
Cassidy a little bit more about it, he is available. I'll include here.
Let me get that off.
Otherwise, have a optimum time.
Cassidy, how do I stop this?
You need help.
No, how do you stop
You
it?
just hit this little button.
I did that. It's still going. I don't want to erase it or anything after all that.